Supreme Court faces crisis of credibility over flawed gun ruling. The Supreme Court is confronting a growing internal crisis as judges across the country openly criticize its 2022 New York State Rifle and Amp Pistol Asson v. Brune decision. This ruling, handed down by the court's 6 conservative justices, has created unprecedented confusion and inconsistency in Second Amendment cases, prompting widespread complaints from lower court judges, even those appointed by Republican presidents. The Brune decision. A failure in clarity. Brune attempted to establish a historical framework for evaluating gun laws, requiring the government to demonstrate that any regulation aligns with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. The problem? The standard is vague and unworkable. As one federal judge bluntly stated, the decision does not provide lower courts with clear guidance. Judges are struggling at every stage of the Brune inquiry, with one Trump-appointed judge warning that it has created a flood of litigation, forcing courts to dissect the historical relevance of modern gun laws in nearly every case. The court's own attempt to clarify Brune in United States v. Rahimi, 2024, backfired spectacularly. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson cited over a dozen judicial opinions lamenting the decision's incoherence. The core issue is that the court has imposed a historical standard without defining what sufficiently similar means, leaving judges to make arbitrary distinctions. The case of Woolford v. Lopez. A test of the broken system, the upcoming Woolford v. Lopez case will force the court to confront the consequences of its flawed ruling. At issue is a Hawaii law that effectively bans guns from most private properties unless the owner explicitly grants permission, a workaround designed to circumvent Brune. If the court applied its own standard logically, the Hawaii law should fall. Yet, the historical analysis demanded by Brune may actually work in Hawaii's favor. Colonial and early American laws banning guns on private land without permission exist, potentially satisfying the court's vague, historical tradition requirement. Originalism's failure. The court's predicament stems from its embrace of originalism, an approach that fixates on the original understanding of the Constitution. Brune was an attempt to ground Second Amendment jurisprudence in this framework, but it has backfired spectacularly. Overruling Brune would force the conservative justices to admit their originalist project is failing, but the court may simply ignore logic and uphold the Hawaii law, proving that Brune is not a constraint on judicial discretion, but a license for politically motivated rulings. Empirical evidence supports this view. A 2023 study found judges appointed by Republican presidents are nearly twice as likely to strike down gun laws under Brune than those appointed by Democrats. The verdict. The Supreme Court's own ruling has become a liability, undermining its credibility and creating chaos in the lower courts. The Woolford case will be another test of whether the court is committed to principled jurisprudence or simply ideological outcomes dressed up as legal reasoning. The decision will likely reveal the truth. Brune is not law, but a political tool disguised as constitutional analysis.